Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Again with the same case we were doing earlier. I have put the reissued value at a lesser value than the given fully paid up value. So let's see what's given in the question. Here in the question, this is the case where 90,000 shares were actually subscribed by the public. So first of all, we make a due for bank account debit 90,000 multiplied by your share application money for rupees 6 per share. To share application 90,000 into 6 we got 5,40,000. This 4 application money is transferred to your equity share capital account. Then we make a due for allotment, that is equity share allotment account debit to equity share capital. Allotment was made due on 90,000 shares for rupees 4 per share. It became 3,60,000. When we were to receive this 3,60,000 on allotment, actually we could not receive the full amount. 1,000 shares which were held by a shareholder could not pay the allotment money. Because he could not pay the allotment money, so in the bank value we received less because of these causing areas. These causing areas were 1,000 into 4, so 4,000 was the value here. So 3,60,000 minus 4,000, how much was received? 3,56,000 in your bank value. Now the question begins itself with that these shares on which causing areas were there on allotment were forfeited for the non-payment of the allotment. If these shares were forfeited after the allotment, so we have to get back the shares. When we are getting back the shares, so which account is to be debited? Equity share application account. These 1,000 shares were fully called up with 10 rupees, were paid up with 6 and not paid up with 4. So whatever value is not paid up goes to the causing areas account, and the amount which have been paid up on these shares would go to the share forfeiture account. This share forfeiture account shows the gain to the company on the forfeiture of the shares, because company is getting back their shares also, and they are also keeping the money with themselves what have been paid earlier. Here the shareholder have paid application money of rupees 6. This 6 rupees were also kept by the firm, by the company, and the shares were also brought back by the company. So here now these shares, he says, again were reissued in the market, but at a lesser value than fully paid up. What was the fully paid up value of the share? That was rupees 10 here. So 10 was the fully paid up value here, but they have been reissued at rupees 8 per share, right? So when shares have been issued at rupees 8, in that very case, how much money have been received by the company here? Or 1,000 share they have received rupees 8. But these were the fully paid up shares. So fully paid up shares were here 1,000 multiplied by 10. What was the value of the share? That was 1,000 multiplied by 10. Fully paid up share was with rupees 10 each. But they have received how much value here? 8. That means for 10,000 rupees, they have received only 8,000 rupees. So where is the loss on reissue of shares is to be transferred? So here it is a blank, that where this 2,000 loss on reissue of the shares is to be transferred. So this loss of rupees 2,000 should be transferred to your shares forfeiture account. So here we debited share forfeiture account because there is a loss of rupees 2 on the reissue of the shares, being shares reissued, right? So in this case, the company has also made a loss. So after covering the loss, whatever would be the profit will be transferred to capital reserve account. So share forfeiture account debit to capital reserve account, we have to make a transfer of the profit to the capital reserve. But how much value we have to pay? First of all, you have to ensure that the number of shares reissued should be same to to the number of shares forfeiture. For calculating the capital reserves profit, what you have to take, that is number of reissued shares. Okay, reissued shares. Here the number of reissued shares were total 1000, right? After that, you have to make a deduction of gain minus loss, right? Gain on forfeiture and loss on reissue. You have to take the deduction of the same. Here, on forfeiture, there was a gain of ₹6. Credit was with ₹6. And the debit, that is loss, was with ₹2. Loss was with ₹2. So how much gain minus loss? How much is the gain which should be transferred to the capital reserve account? That is 4000 rupees, right? So we have to check. You can take it directly also, because here number of forfeited shares were equal to the number of reissued shares. So you can directly also take your capital reserve amount, that is 6000 minus 2000, that is ₹4000 here, right? So how we took here also another way to calculate. When this case is there, then you can directly deduct 6000 minus 2000, the credit balance of share forfeited and the debit balance of share forfeited. Directly take a deduction, you can get the amount of ₹4000 in this particular case. Otherwise, if the number are not same, we have to follow a proper procedure also. Now the one important question I want to make you, that at how much value these shares can be issued to make a maximum loss, right? The question is this, that if these shares of 1000 are to be reissued, if reissue value is not given to you, at what maximum loss they can be reissued? The maximum loss in the case of the reissue, the maximum loss in the case of the reissue of share is equals to the actual amount with which these shares were paid up earlier. What was the paid value of these shares? That was ₹6. So what is the actual gain to the firm on forfeiture? That was of 6. So what could be the maximum loss they can make? That is also of ₹6 on reissue, not more than that. So the minimum price, now this is the maximum loss they can make. So what should be the minimum price at which these shares can be reissued? The 10 rupee was the price of the share, and the maximum loss could be of ₹6. So what should be the minimum price for the reissue of the share? That is ₹4. The minimum price for reissue is 4. It can be issued at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or more than that also to get the SPR value, security premium, but not at a lesser value than 4. They can make a reissue of these shares at 3, 2 or 1. They cannot make a reissue at this price. So minimum price at which these shares can be issued is 4. And the maximum loss on these reissue of shares could be ₹6. Maximum loss is always equals to the gain, that is the paid up value of your forfeited shares. So here we have ended with the 3 cases of your reissued value of the shares, that is at ₹8 also. In the previous one I discussed for ₹10 also and for ₹12 also. So here I am ending with this case. We will follow up with a few further cases where part shares are reissued and like that in the upcoming cases. So thanks for the day. Like, share and subscribe. Accountancy, keep scoring.